Did Boris Johnson not get invited to any of the parties in Downing Street in December 2020? My name's Mike Cashman. If you find this stuff interesting, please subscribe to the channel. Britannia waives the rules. We are being taken for idiots. Look, with any gathering in Downing Street then that stood any risk of infringing the Tier 3 restrictions, there's a simple question. Did the organiser seek permission from Boris Johnson for it or not? If the answer is yes, then Johnson knew about the parties and has been lying to us in Parliament. If the answer is no, then the organiser should have been aware of the likely impact when the news broke, as indeed has happened. Nothing is surprising about the impact of that news breaking. And the organiser should resign or be sacked. And, you know, if, just as an example, if Jack Doyle, the Director of Communications, organised the event on 18th of December, at which he is reported to have given out awards, then that would apply to him. But let's go further. In order to assume that Boris Johnson was not deceiving Parliament about such events having taken place, we have to assume that all the events that happened without Boris Johnson's knowledge or permission or invitation. I mean, actually, if you're going to give out awards to staff for communications over the year or whatever it was, normally you would invite the big boss. You'd ask him to give out the awards. Now, you know, maybe it didn't happen, maybe he was busy or whatever. But the notion that through December, gatherings were happening in Downing Street because there appear to be quite a number of them, and Boris Johnson was blissfully unaware of all of this. So many of his staff were going to these gatherings, but not telling him that they were happening. That idea is just ludicrous. Where was he? Was he hiding in a fridge all through December? He can't have been unaware of what was going on within Downing Street. There's now an inquiry started to look into the parties. That shouldn't have been necessary. Johnson should simply have been able to say to his staff, come on then, what happened? Other than those that he already knew about. Given that it's been started, it should continue because otherwise it looks like a cover-up. It does seem something of a sledgehammer to crack a bag of nuts, but there we are. Let's let that proceed and find out or see what the inquiry turns up as has deemed to have happened. But to emerge with the conclusion that all this was going on and Boris Johnson didn't know anything about it is just ridiculous. For anybody to imagine that this would have no impact when the news broke, when they'd already had Dominic Cummings getting into big trouble for ignoring the regulations and off his own bat deciding to drive north and then drive to Barnard Castle to test his eyes. So the prior example was very clearly there that if you abuse and ignore the restrictions, and in the case of a Christmas party with even less excuse than the excuses Dominic Cummings came up with, then there was bound to be a public outcry. Allegra Stratton has resigned. I don't think she was the biggest culprit in this by any means. You know, for a moment or two, she wasn't fully professional and has had to take the consequences of that. But this was not premeditated from her point of view. The guilty parties, or the primary guilty parties, are elsewhere. Now, I know that, you know, what we know from the Tories is there will be another scandal along next week, and maybe that will distract attention from this one. But it is time for there to be a reckoning. There will probably be a reckoning on Thursday when the by-election comes up for the seat vacated by Owen Paterson, the man who broke the rules where the Tories attempted to change the rules in order for him to escape the consequences of his actions. Let's see what the voters of North Shropshire think about that on Thursday. Those are my thoughts anyway. If you have any thoughts to add, please put them in the comments on the video. and don't forget to subscribe to Britannia Waves the Rules. Thank you.